So close to 1 million jobs have been lost in just about every sector. So it's not your imagination that you're seeing layoffs in just about every headline in the news. This was reinforced by the weak job report that we just had. So this time last year, we had lost 400,000. Now we're over 800,000 jobs lost. So the big question is why? Why are we losing so many jobs? Number one is because of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. Now this did a lot more than just impact federal employees because there are a lot of jobs downstream of the federal government. If you look at state, local, you look at county, city government, they receive a lot of money from the federal government. So when you make cuts to grants, when you make cuts to programs, it impacts city government, county government. They're no longer able to hire for certain positions. Then you look at the NGOs. Now, some of them have been doing the wrong thing. We can both acknowledge that. Yes, there are some bad actors when it comes to NGOs, but you have others, like let's say nonprofits, that were trying to do the right thing. They can no longer hire the same amount of positions, so it impacts them. Then look at defense contracting or just government contractors in general. They had to scale back. So those are jobs that are lost. Then go further than that. Now let's look at tariffs. Tariffs are impacting the job market in a huge way. Because what I want you to do right now, think of an American company. Probably think about Apple, Ford, Microsoft. All these big American companies, they rely on imports. They get natural, precious metals, semiconductors, microchips from Asia, largely. They have to get those from Asia so they can build their American products. So as the price of those components increase, they have to pass that on to the consumer. And then they're not able to sell as much. So they're not willing to invest in expansion. This all costs jobs. Jobs are what we're talking about here. So less people are going to get hired in Apple and all the rest of the companies. Now, look at artificial intelligence. That's another thing that's eroding the jobs. If you have a small business, maybe you were thinking about hiring an administrative assistant, an admin assistant to manage, some basic accounting, some spreadsheets, do some PowerPoints, whatever. Now, AI is more than competent and more than capable of assuming a lot of those admin tasks. One of the things that I used to do as a federal employee was read GAO reports, analyze them, and track them. So read, analyze, track. Those three verbs can be done by ChatGPT as of right now. ChatGPT 5 or Claude or Grok, pick one. The AI can do that. Now, what is the proficiency level that is currently at? That's up for debate. But one thing is not up for debate. It is continuously getting more and more competent. It's able to do more and more advanced tasks. So when it comes to having a career as an administrative assistant or maybe even a program analyst, we need less and less of those type of individuals moving forward. You can look at some federal agencies like the Social Security Administration. Right now, their workforce is at record lows. It's around 50,000. Used to be 60, 65,000. They're not trying to hire anymore over there. They're counting on an AI boom. The leader of the agency is using those words, an AI boom, to help augment those workers, to help with the low staffing numbers. So the goal right now across all agencies is, what is the lowest that you can work with? Talking about your workforce, how low can you go? You're at 60,000, can you go to 50? What about 45? How much pain is introduced when we take you down to 39,000? That's kind of the mentality and the mindset that's happening across a lot of these federal agencies. How low can you go? And can you use AI to replace? Now, initially it's not talked about that way, right? It's just, hey, this is going to make your job easier. You're not going to have to read so many reports, just feed it into this AI bot, and then it's going to help you out. But we all know where this story ends. This story ends with you out of a job eventually. Maybe not this year, not next year. You might even be safe in 2027, but eventually The goal is to phase you out. So next month or later on this year, will the jobs report get better? Will we start creating more jobs, losing less jobs? Well, unless something changes, probably not. It's really easy to see how things could end up getting worse and worse. Now, at a certain point, does the Trump administration look at the landscape and say, okay, we need to change? It's easy to change tariffs. You can do that with a stroke of a pen. A phone conversation can change a tariff. So we could see, some backpedaling, some reversal when it comes to the tariffs. Now, when it comes to the AI, I really think AI should be used to strengthen employees and not replace employees. And I think it should be more than just a talking point. It should be something that the company or the agency is actually committed to doing. So what is the answer to this problem right now? If you're a young person, if you're in university, if you're mid-career and you're looking for a place that's relatively free from AI, where your job is going to be secure, number one, I would look in healthcare. The healthcare industry, that there will always be a demand there for people that are skilled, because it's hard to replace empathy and compassion with AI. I mean, you can fake it. I'm sure you can have an AI fake it, but the human component of providing care and expressing empathy is going to be very hard to replace. Another area you can look at is AI. So at what point do AI engineers get replaced by AI? At a certain point. But right now, if you looked at the news recently, you would see OpenAI and Meta, these companies are paying $1 million bonuses just for individuals to join their team. Doesn't even have to be for that long. That's the value they're placing on talent right now. So if you're an AI engineer, or just if you have expertise in IT, I would say, there's a lot of different areas in IT that could make you future-proof. Not coding. I wouldn't go into coding though, because we're seeing AI do more and more remarkable things when it comes to coding. Now, some people are saying that it takes just as long to debug a code because it's all messed up in there, but it's going to improve. There was once a saying by President Obama who said, learn how to code. And that's kind of out the window at this point. So in addition to all of that, what we're seeing right now is the federal job landscape is changing dramatically. So there was a time in our country where people valued a nonpartisan federal workforce, a federal workforce that answered to the Constitution, answered to the laws of this country. But what we're witnessing change before our eyes is loyalty is becoming more important. What type of loyalty? Political loyalty. What is your political ideology? Because that could determine whether or not you get your next federal job. And it's such a dramatic change from both sides of the aisle, but particularly I would say the right side, the right side. Because last year, 90% of Republicans were saying that the federal workforce should stay nonpartisan. And then all of a sudden, President Trump gets elected, and now it's something like 60%. The other 30%, they completely changed their mind on the topic. So if you want to know more about that, I want you to check this video out next. Stay updated by signing up to the free newsletter down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.